Good evening and welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Nadun Sirivardhana. Let's have a look at the headlines. Build long-term competitiveness, World Bank tells Sri Lanka. Government expands export strategy to northwestern and north central provinces. News in detail. The World Bank outlines that Sri Lanka must push through to attract capital and revive exports and build long-term competitiveness, warning that export growth has slowed. Speaking to the media in Colombo, World Bank senior country economist for Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Richard Walker, said that foreign direct investment remains far too long to meet the country's growth objectives.
You can see this sort of slowing down of export growth. And the other point here you can see, maybe not so clearly, is the level of FDI, which really is hovering, stays around 0.5% of GDP over the next few years. And this is concerning for Sri Lanka in that at this stage it really needs to mobilize more investment, boost exports, and as well as to try and achieve this goal of $36 billion of exports by 2030. I think the first thing is policy consistency is key. And you see there, we've grouped this in two areas. So around the fiscal discipline, and then maintaining sort of rebalancing fiscal policy. So that means spending better, and Shruti will come on to this later, spending better, more efficiently, but also being more progressive in the mobilization of tax revenue. So the first key area I'll just highlight there is around these tax administration reforms, so to continue the progress there. The second one is around developing a formal tax expenditure management framework. So really trying to be more transparent about this, ensure cost-benefit analysis is done when developing this. Continued enforcement of cost-reflective utility pricing is key for ensuring the financial viability of SOEs. And all of this really has to take account of trying to balance debt sustainability, growth, and equity, which is going to be tricky going forward for government.
World Bank senior country economist for Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Richard Walker, also cautioned that monetary policy must remain well calibrated to control inflation and prevent excessive credit growth. He stressed that the government must maintain continued vigilance over financial risks, including high non-performing loans and the exposure of banks to government debt.
There has been a sort of softening of monetary policy, but the concern going forward, this has to continue to be well calibrated to mitigate against some inflationary pressures, as well as the sort of unsustainable build-up in private sector credit. And you've seen a very, very high and rapid growth in this credit over the last year or so. Financial sector risks need to be carefully monitored. This includes also the elevated levels of non-performing loans, which you see, as well as this continued high exposure of the banking sector to government. The third point there around state-owned banks' governance and ownership, there has been good progress here. The emphasis is really in continuing these reforms, especially around the state-owned banks, to ensure that there's sort of sustained financial sector deepening, as they'll be critical for providing credit and supporting the growth of the economy. And you've already seen some of this increased liquidity among state-owned banks, which has helped drive some of this credit growth.
World Bank senior country economist Richard Walker, however, added that he was generally positive about the government's recent performances in stabilization, while emphasizing the need to continue with policy consistency.
We are generally, I would say, quite positive and happy about the performance of government in these areas, and I think the emphasis is to continue with this policy consistency. On the structural reforms, though, we are a little more concerned. I think these are really critical areas for longer term growth, maintaining exchange rate flexibility. If there are any shocks, the exchange rate can help facilitate some of these external adjustments, and it's also important for continuing to rebuild reserves.
Stay tuned, we will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back. The government is engaging regional exporters to gather input for the new National Export Plan and address local business challenges. A major networking forum for the northwestern and north central provinces was held in Kurunagala recently. The forum, organized by the Export Development Board under the patronage of Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Sunil Handunhetty, brought together a large gathering of regional exporters with key government institutions. The primary objective was to establish direct communication channels between provincial businesses and policy planners, addressing critical issues such as customs procedures, legal challenges and market access. Exporters were able to interact directly with officials from Sri Lanka Customs and the Department of Inland Revenue to seek practical solutions to their operational hurdles. The event also served as a platform to gather valuable suggestions and proposals from regional entrepreneurs for the upcoming National Export Development Plan, ensuring that national policy incorporates perspectives from outside the commercial capital. Minister Handunhetty stated that the program aims to foster regional export growth by promptly resolving challenges faced by exporters while strengthening the sector with new ideas. Now, Sri Lanka's Anti-Corruption Commission has launched a new digital platform to streamline investigations and enhance transparency. The case file tracking system was unveiled at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption headquarters in Colombo today. The Commission introduced a new system with the support from the United Nations Development Programme and funding from the Government of Japan. The digital platform is designed to modernize case management, improve workflow efficiency, and enable more timely and transparent investigations. During the launch, Siabok chairperson Justice Neil Iddavala described the system as a paradigm shift that will be a game changer for the institution. The system aims to strengthen public confidence in anti-corruption efforts and supports the government's broader digital transformation agenda. As part of the initiative, Japan and UNDP also provided hardware infrastructure equipment valued at over $200,000 along with targeted training for Siabok staff to ensure the system's effective implementation. Now, a delegation of Sri Lankan spice exporters has concluded a successful trade mission to China, securing new partnerships and market insights. The outward trade mission was organized by the Export Development Board recently. The delegation, comprising 13 leading spice companies, participated in the China ASEAN Expo in Nanning before conducting business matchmaking sessions in Yuling, a major Chinese spice hub. The mission focused on prompting Ceylon cinnamon and other value-added spices, with exporters gaining first-hand exposure to advanced processing techniques and supply chain models in China's spice industry. Several memoranda of understanding were initiated between Sri Lankan spice sector associations and Chinese stakeholders during the visit, laying the groundwork for strengthened bilateral trade. The program also provided Sri Lankan businesses with valuable insights into Chinese consumer behavior and the application of modern technologies, including artificial intelligence, in the agri-processing sector. The Export Development Board described the mission as highly effective in expanding Sri Lanka's presence in the valuable Chinese spice market. Stay tuned for the stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The All Share Price Index dropped by 65.24 points to close at 22,097.99. The S&P SL 20 dropped by 28.32 points to close at 6,163.22. The turnover was over 7.3 billion rupees and over 189 million shares were traded. Up next, our forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.